I was hoping I'd be short enough that I could be underneath this light. Not quite. So that's awesome news. We're ahead of schedule. That's really great for us because the way this program, the resilience program for the Army is set up, is it's supposed to be a 1 hour block of training per 12 skills. So I have 12 skills that I'm going to go over with you guys today, and I'll be able to fill up all this time, and we can get ourselves back on schedule. Sound good? Oh, okay, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Okay, cool. So here's what's going to happen. I don't like to talk a lot, so I want to hear back from you guys. The more you guys engage with me, the faster I can get done with this. Next slide. Boom, these are the 12 skills that we're going to be going over for resiliency. Take it in. Like it? Love it? Next slide. MRT has 12 skills. Each of these 12 skills work on these 7 MRT competencies, Master Resiliency Trainer competencies, right? So each of these different skills is somehow work into the competencies. The other idea is that you have physical, family, emotional, spiritual, and social. So these are kind of the pillars that, surround our lives and make us into better people. Next slide. These first two are a little bit complex, so I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. This first one's supposed to be a 3 hour block of training, which I'm going to explain to you in about 2 minutes if I can. So you have an ATC. It's an activating event. Your kind of thoughts that follow that, and then the consequences of those thoughts. And when you think about the consequences, you're not thinking about, I shot someone, now I'm going to go to jail. Right? That's the kind of like how we think of consequences. It's the consequence of somebody pulled in front of me in traffic, and now I'm pissed off. That's the consequence. So you're dialing it way back, just kind of a snapshot of these emotions, right? So think about this. I'm driving on my way to work, and somebody pulls off in front of me, and I'm like, you person, thank you so much for doing that. You put my life in danger, and I'm mad at you now. So I think about this, and I say, okay, somebody pulled in front of me. My thought is that I'm mad at this person, they put my life in danger, and the consequence of that is that I'm angry. Is that a justifiable reaction?
Yes.
I'm not super convinced by that. Is that justifiable?
Yes.
Right, okay, so it's a justifiable thing. A lot of people have this idea of resiliency where it's like, you're going to be happy all the time if you implement these skills. It's not really about that. What this is about is maintaining and kind of controlling your emotions. Now, another story, I'm driving to drill, I'm running a little bit late, and everyone on the road is going the speed limit. And it drives me crazy because we should go a little bit over the speed limit. And now they're in my way. And somebody's in the fast lane and they're going the speed limit and they're right next along to another car and I can't get around them. And now I'm super pissed off because I'm going to be late for drill. Is that kind of fall in line with the same thing? Is that like a standard response that I should have? Yes? No? Okay, so think about it like this. With the activating event, isn't that traffic is going bad, it's that I'm late for drill, right? And my thought is that people are in my way of me getting to drill. That's my own problem. And the consequence is that I'm, again, very angry. Next slide, please. Boom. Detecting icebergs. So what we have there is my emotional lineup to what's happening isn't matching what it should be. I'm at fault for that, so I'm overreacting to this. Why am I overreacting to this? Why am I so upset that I'm going to be late for drill? Well, it's because I take pride in showing up to drill on time. It's like the fundamental thing that you got to do. If you show up on time every time, then people are going to respect that and they're going to notice that. If you're late to drill, they're going to notice that a lot more too. So detecting icebergs. If you think about your small little emotional reactions to events and there's not a lineup, chances are there's a deeper reason in there of what's going on. Next slide. Those are the first two skills that we just went over. So the first one is ATC, the second one is detecting icebergs, right? We're moving pretty fast. Goal setting. Who had fun at SRP and whatever it's called? I don't even know what they call it anymore. You had fun?
Oh, yeah.
Why did you have fun?
2 days long is joy.
2 days long is a joy. You know what I love about it is they give me a list and they're like, this is what you have to do. And I get to complete that list and then I'm done with it. It's very simple, right? I love that about that. It keeps me on track. This is kind of the same idea. Goal setting. It's like, okay, I got a goal, you got to accomplish something. If you don't make a plan for that, if you don't have a list that you gotta check off, it's gonna be more difficult to accomplish those tasks. Who discovered that there was multiple lists on the SRP or whatever it was? Yeah, right? And then they're like, oh, you have all the signatures here, but there's another sheet of paper that says you have to accomplish this information back here. Finance and legal, like, where are they at? I'm so lost and confused by what's happening right now. If you're gonna give me a list, make sure if I check off those blocks, I can be successful. This is kind of that same idea. We're about to go on a deployment. Outside of like NCOES or things like that, who has a goal here that they want to accomplish? Anyone. Don't make me fill up this time. Boom, right there. What you got? What do you want to do? Okay, outside of NCOES, something a little bit more complex than just, hey, I put my name on a list and I want to go to, I'm going to go to a school now.
Airline.
Good luck. Anybody else? What's that? You want to get swole first, Sergeant. Outstanding. So if you think about getting swole, you can just go to the gym every day, right? That's pretty simple. Go to the gym every day and commit to that. Where is Sternhagen at? Sternhagen, is he here? He left. Who's another like really strong person who gets ripped? Kevin Canlis. Back here. Is going to the gym every single day and just going hard, is that going to get you there? Why not? Nutrition.
Nutrition, I've learned, so I'm at this spot in my life. It's helped me out immensely in the last 8 months. So I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get huge, I'm going to get swole, I'm going to get ripped.
90%
90%
nutrition. So on top of going to the gym every day, nutrition. What about just in the gym itself? Like what concepts are you putting into this?
Living right, form, your mindset. Their effort.
The amount of effort, so form, all of these different things. Really coming up with a plan. So defining what your goal is, that is going to decide where do I want to be on top of getting swole. Knowing where you are right now, this part is difficult, I think, for most of you, is having an honest self-assessment. Where am I at right now versus where do I want to be? Decide what you need to develop, right? You have different muscle groups. Which ones do you want to hit? Making a plan for steady improvement. If you go in there and you're like, I just want to get swole, but you don't like have a plan developed to build up to that, then you're just going to put a lot of effort in. Pursuing regular action every day, going to the gym, or if you're just going 3 times a day, or really developing that strategy. Committing to yourself completely. What does that mean to you guys? Personal accountability. Very difficult step right there. So if you have those other things in line, it's going to make committing to yourself completely a lot easier because you're going to have that plan written up that you can say, hey, did I make these benchmarks? No. Okay, I'm not holding myself accountable. And finally, consistently monitoring your progress, like a little tape measure or something, right? Pretty simple. No. Next slide. Hunt the good stuff. This one is widely well received. I'm gonna go back on stage. I didn't want to be on stage, but the speakers aren't liking this. So hunt the good stuff usually gets a bad rap from the military. People kind of view it as just like happy-go-lucky all the time. Think about it like this. Back a long time ago, lizard brain, right? I gotta stay away from bad things all the time. You gotta keep yourself safe. Takes a lot of memory, making sure that you're aware of what's going on, and then keeping track of like, oh, I can eat berries off of this plant. Super easy to remember, lock it in there, good to go. They say it takes 4 positive events to equal 1 negative event in your life. This is your negativity bias that just naturally happens. So hunting the good stuff, what that does is it kind of keeps you locked in and saying, hey, what are the good things that are happening in my life on a consistent basis? The idea behind it, the skill behind it, is you were supposed to journal 3 good things that happen to you on a daily basis. I would highly encourage this on deployment. You got a lot of free time. You're gonna have a lot of things going on that you may or may not like. This will be a good way to kind of keep track of what's going on and be able to stay in touch with all the good things that are currently happening. Next slide. Breathing. Everybody stand up. All right, here's what's gonna happen. My hand's coming up is my inhale. I'm gonna hold at the top, so we're gonna hold our breath in. My hand's coming down is your exhale, right? So do it with me now. Man, there's so many hands up right now. Kind of some hippy-dippy stuff we're doing right now, right? Kind of interesting. Who can think of another element in our lives where we implement this? Shooting, right? You get down, you show up at the range, it's your turn, you got your sandbag set up perfectly, you get down behind your rifle, you guys can sit down. You get down behind your rifle, feet in the right spot, and you're like, where are these targets at? Right? And you're preparing to engage targets. That's the thing that we want to do the most, isn't it? So if you practice this, it makes your ability to achieve this a lot easier when you do go to the range, or if you're lucky enough to actually be able to have these engagements. So this is a thing that we do. It slows down your heart rate during a tense situation. It keeps you kind of level-minded. It allows you to take a step back and say, okay, what do I need to do next, right? A lot of times we have to make hasty decisions, and it has to be the best decision that you can possibly make in that time. Giving yourself that split second to say, okay, I'm clear-minded, I can make this decision, is going to benefit all of you as leaders and as soldiers. So I highly encourage this. The skill behind this is to take 2 minutes and just practice that deep breathing. 3 seconds in, hold for 3 seconds, 3 seconds out. Next slide. Yesterday, First Sergeant came to me, First Sergeant Throckmorton, and he said, hey, are you ready for your presentation tomorrow? And I was like, absolutely, First Sergeant. What am I presenting? And he's like, your resiliency slides. And I was like, that's right, we spoke about that. I will be ready. Here I am. And I'm like, okay, 7 o'clock at night, haven't seen my family. I gotta get these slides ready. I haven't gone over these in a little while. Am I ready to do this? I know this stuff. I like this stuff. I've drinking the Kool-Aid, and I've invested in my life. And I feel fully competent and capable to have this conversation with you guys and engage in this conversation with you guys. So I was like, okay, I'm ready. I know that I can do this. I'll do the stuff, put the slides together real quick. I know where I can get this information and put together a quick brief for you guys. It was kind of the me scenario of not being ready, and now I'm ready. So this is something that you want to do when you're having these situations, you get into a heated debate, and are you always blaming yourself? Am I saying, man, First Sergeant didn't come to me and remind me about these briefs that I was supposed to do. He didn't tell me what he wanted from me. That's a them, right? So there's all these different things. I always have to do these briefs. Why am I always chosen for this? Always situation. Get these ideas out of your head. Focus on what you need to do. The reality, now again, this isn't like blow everything off and everything's just gonna be okay. I knew that I had the tools and the knowledge at my disposal to be able to do this. So I was in a realistic situation where I had to give a brief, I had the information, and I had to put in the time to create this for you guys, right? Next slide. Problem solving. Solving problems. A lot of times we want to solve problems. How many times have we sat into a meeting, somebody comes up with some crazy solution to a difficult problem, and you're like, wait, what? Where is that coming from? That's completely out of left field. Have you thought about this? Right? If we are witnessing a problem, especially if you're lower enlisted and you're dealing with your superiors, if you can really sit down, think about the problem that you're having, articulating this problem well, and being able to deliver a package and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. This is how I need this problem solved. This is the good things that will happen if we solve this problem. then you're more likely to have a audience that will hear you out. Next slide. Putting it into perspective. This is like another kind of snapshot thing that happens to a lot of us. A scenario where this happens is, for example, I got my 5-year-old son, Roman. He's all over the place, love him to death. And I'll be at the store, checking out, right? And I'll look down, because he's supposed to be right there, and then he's disappeared. And I'm like, oh man, where is he at? He's gone. He got kidnapped. Somebody took him. I'm never gonna see him again. He's probably dead. He's in the back of somebody's car. This is ridiculous. How am I gonna find him? What's my wife gonna say, right? Start freaking out about stuff. Then you kind of got to think about it and say, okay, that's the most outrageous example of what could happen. What's the opposite side of the spectrum of that? What is the best parts that could happen? He went to go get me something that I like. He went to go get me a water bottle or something because he loves me and wants to take care of me. He found $1 million and he's waiting to give it to me or something like that, right? So kind of like unrealistic, way on the other side of all the positive things that can happen. And then you dial it down to the center. The way they teach this is you're supposed to write it out, kind of have a plan, left side, most extreme, bad, right side, best case scenario of good, and then you bring it down to the middle. This is something that you kind of do over time in your own head, and you dial it down to the middle. And ultimately what you're looking for is not to be like, hey, everything's gonna be okay. It's to say, what's the most realistic course of action that's happening right now? What's the most likely thing that happened? He moved to the other side of me, and there he is right there, right? Or he wandered off somewhere because he saw something that had Star Wars on it and wanted to go play with it, right? So he's right over there at that little stand. So these are things to think about. Worst case, best case, reality, what needs to be done to solve whatever problem you came across. Next slide. Daydreaming, right? Being distracted, you're sitting in a brief all day long, people are up here talking about things that you have very little interest in, trying to apply it to your own lives can be very, very difficult. You guys familiar with this type of scenario? I don't know where you might have seen that before. But this is fun little ways to kind of get your brain locked in and dial it back and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. One of the games that's not on there that I like a lot, that I utilize when I'm at work and I'm supposed to be doing stuff, but I'm not doing stuff, is I will do, it's like the rules of 3, right? So I think about 3 things that I can see, 3 things that I can hear, and 3 things that I can feel. So like right now, I can see most of you, right? I can kind of see the light at the back of the room, and I can see these flags. If I'm quiet and I'm present in the room, I can hear the audio, I can hear you guys coughing, and I can hear these yahoos back here messing about. Right? What do I feel? I can feel my uniform on my body, my feet on the ground, and the microphone in my hand. Brings you back, puts you present, and lets you know, hey, this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm doing. Kind of clears your mind up from being distracted about whatever it is you were thinking about. Next slide. Real-time resilience, blocking out the negative vibes. You go for a PT test, right? And you're like, oh man, this is it. I'm gonna fail the PT test. I'm not ready for this thing. What if I trip and fall and break my ankle? I'm not ready. What if I fail something? What if I don't get all my push-ups in? Did you train enough? Yeah, I trained enough. Have you ever failed the PT test? No, I've never failed a PT test. Did you take a diagnostic last month? Yeah. Okay. You're gonna be ready for this. Yeah, there are extenuating circumstances. You could trip and fall on the run and end up not passing. But the likelihood of that happening, because you're trained, you're efficient, if you do trip, your body's conditioned and ready to continue running, you'll be ready for it, right? So it's not dismissing negative thoughts, but it's saying, hey, did you train for this? Are you ready for this? Are you capable of doing this right now, right? Being honest with yourself. Next slide. Assertive communication. This is kind of like the problem-solving one, but really it's just a way to express yourself. It's a way to communicate with folks and really come across like you know what you're talking about and you're not just, flying off the handle. So kind of coming up with identifying and understanding the problem, describing your problem objectively, expressing your concerns, asking for perspective, right? Really the key here is explaining, articulating what's going on, listening for input, and coming up to a conclusion together. If we all took the time, especially as we get ready for this deployment, as we're on this deployment, to effectively communicate with each other, I think that we can mitigate a lot of great times that could be had. Next slide. This is a great one, and this is one that kind of got me deep, right? You can kind of look at these superficially. When you do the actual training of this one, it can get you. Basically, there's 4 ways to communicate. Only one way builds relationships. The 3 other ways degrade relationships. It breaks them down. When you do it, you think about somebody that is close to you, and you think about how you communicate with them. So you can be active, and you can be passive. So if you're constructive active, you're a joy multiplier. That's the good way. If you're destructive active, you're a joy thief, destructive passive, construction hijacker, constructive, I put 2 of them in there, got the wrong way. Constructive active, deconstructive passive is another way. So think about it like this, right? Somebody told me I might be getting promoted. So I go up to somebody, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get promoted. It's gonna be this weekend. And they're like, that's great. It's about time. Well, what have you been doing that it took you this long to get promoted? Well, like NCLES schools, and I had to wait for a slot. Did you really put in the time to make sure that you got into these schools and really put in your best effort? Well, no, I didn't. Well, hopefully you make E7 faster than you made E6. Cool, thanks. I wanted to share that with you, I appreciate that. So that's actively destructive. Destructive passive would be totally disengaged. Hey, I'm getting promoted this weekend. Let me tell you about the time I got promoted. It was really cool. I was working with aviation. We flew up to the top of Denali. We landed on top, got off the helicopter, got pinned, and it was fantastic. Where's your promotion at? Probably at Alcantara, maybe? I hope, That's cool, that's a great story, right? So you're kind of engaged in that conversation, but you're making it about yourself. And then ultimately they're just hijacking the conversation, and you're completely, so this is what's not up there, is deflecting it. Hey, I'm getting promoted. That's cool. When did you, when did you put in your paperwork for SRP and MRC? And you're like, oh, I'm about done with it. How about your online training? Yeah, I think I got 1 or 2 left on that one. Completely derailing the conversation. So the good way, the constructive active, hey, I'm getting promoted. That's great. When are you getting promoted? I'm getting promoted on Sunday. Awesome. Can I be there for it? Yeah. How did you find out you're going to get promoted? Oh, I got a call from Sergeant Miller and Sergeant Frank, and they were like, hey, you're getting promoted. You get all your paperwork in. And you're like, oh, man, that's great. I love that you got that done. Super proud of you. Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. Right? Sharing in that moment, really engaging with them on that. Next slide. All right, so these are the 12 skills that we learned about today. Take it for what you will. I really encourage you guys taking small tidbits of these, applying them in your own ways, in your own lives, and just seeing what happens with it. Really just taking it in. Next slide. Any questions? Everybody stand up. All right, this briefing is going to end when we can all breathe together. Are you guys ready? So resistant. Join me. Keep fighting the system. I genuinely want to leave here just as much as you do. And one last time. And I lost all of you. Good night.